Hello SLAPAFISH community, welcome back to another World Tanks Console video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the artillery changes. So basically, artillery 2.0. So, yeah. Let's just get right into it. So basically, what they did to the artillery is all artillery got a 0.1 accuracy reduced. Well, they got 0.1 better in the accuracy. 1 second better reload, 1 second better aim time, 40% damage reduction depending on the tier you are in. Tier 7 to tier 10 artillery got a 40% reduction in damage. Tier 5 to tier 6 artillery got a 24% reduction for all guns. And tier 4 and lower saw no changes in damage. Also, almost all artillery got a nerf in camo. Some artillery got a buff in camo, but those are very few between. Shot dispersion during turret rotation reduced the pilot height by 45%, which only affects like artilleries that have turrets, and adjusted the reloads for all artillery to keep the same DPM, even though their alpha was lowered. It also gave artillery 80% of light tank's health. So basically, if there is a light tank on your team, same tier light tank, let's say the T100LT has 1500 hit points. Now artillery is going to have about 1400 hit points. So yeah, artillery is still going to have the lowest amount of hit points and the tier, but not as drastically as low as before. Now, also some artillery got different changes. There's only two. The Equalizer's barrage gun did not get any changes, and the Batchat 155-58, the autoloader in the game, its reload time got buffed from 69.5 to 52 seconds. Its clip size went from 4 to 6 seconds, but its inner clip reload went from 6 to 10 seconds. Also remember, that's also a 40% damage reduction in the Batchat 155-58 artillery. So now I also have an artillery channel that you would think this would go on it, but I think I should cover it on this channel. Also, if you want to go subscribe to that channel, link in the description below. So yeah, let's break it down a little. Also, in the background is just artillery gameplay of Artillery 2.0, mainly of the Crusader SP. So let's talk about, now a lot of people are like, why was this not a overall nerf to the artillery class? Well, fun fact, Wargaming will never ever just flat out nerf any class in the game. Keep on dreaming about that. They'll nerf it, but also change some other things, just like they did here. This is mainly a nerf, but also a change at the same time. They have made both experiences on both sides of the artillery, receiving and dealing damage, better. It is now more fun to play artillery because you actually can pre-aim, aim your shots, and they will actually hit, a lot more of the time than before. But on the receiving end, you don't get hit as much. Like, the Crusader SP used to hit for 400 or 500 damage. Now it's hitting 150, 200, 100, which is fine because it hits more often, but it also hits more often. But you're still doing about the same damage in the same game, just spread it out over all tanks. On the receiving end, also on the receiving end, you also get this indicator called Arty sense. Now, this has been a long requested feature that I've been suggesting to go into the game. Arty sense, like a thing that would alert you from when artillery is looking directly at you. That is separate from targeted and sixth sense. And now we have Arty sense that looks like this. And yeah, all tanks get it. So you will know precisely when artillery is looking at you. So if you get hit by artillery, well, it's pretty much your fault because you were alerted artillery was aiming at you. And you should have moved or did something. So anyway, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the accuracy and like the damage. Let's talk about the damage. 40%. Let's say the Crusader Crusader SP. The Crusader SP used a hit for 900 damage. Well, I'm talking about average hits here, base average hits here. It used a hit for 900, but now it hits for 540. This is if it penetrates its shot. 540 now. Its accuracy. Now, remember, aim time got improved by 1 second. On regular tanks, on every tank except artillery, that would be huge. 1 second is ginormous. But artillery, you gotta remember, artillery have very, very, very long aim time. Some artillery have 10 to 12 seconds aim time. The Crusader SP was on the lower end, well, like in the mid-range. It had a 6.5 second aim time. Now it has a 5.5 second aim time. Not as long as before, but it's shorter, which is 5.5 seconds. It still takes a very long time to aim in, but it's much more manageable. Now, the accuracy of the Crusader SP. Now, the most inaccurate artillery in the game was the Conqueror gun carriage, which I believe it had a 1.21. That's insane. That's the only tank that has over 1.00. Not 0.1, 1.0. That's insane. So, yeah. 0.1 buff to artillery is not a huge difference. To regular tanks, it is. To artillery, it's not. Take the Crusader SP, for example, again. The accuracy of the Crusader SP used to be 0.72, and now it's 0.62. You have that on any other tank except artillery, and you're like, wow, that's really horrible aim time. Really horrible accuracy. That tank's never going to hit, but it's on artillery. Now, the aim time and the accuracy buff are not really a big deal. They're not. They're not as big a deal as people make it out to be. It's just a little bit of quality of life for artillery because they're losing so much damage, which is fine. Now, let's talk about the health buff. A lot of people seem to be complaining about the health buff, which is weird. You know why? Because artillery. One of the funnest things to do in artillery is shotgun. Before, artillery did not have the health points the shotgun. Most artilleries you couldn't shotgun in because you just couldn't get your gun down, or you needed a little bit longer to aim. Too long to aim. And you would be dead before you even tried a shotgun, so most artillery players wouldn't shotgun in most artillery. But now you have more hit points, and most people now shotgunning will be more of a thing. Also, there's like some things I've been seeing, like, why don't you make artillery into like a tank destroyer class? Well, with the buff hit points, that's kind of what they're doing. Think about it. Artillery still has the lowest amount of hit points of any class in a tier. And they also have really big guns. They're like tank destroyers, but they're not. And that's what some people wanted, like just redo the artillery into tank destroyers. And now with the hit point buff, you kind of can play as a TD in your artillery because of the hit point buff. And this has been hilarious. With the extra hit points allows me to shotgun more. I've been having so much more fun in artillery lately because my shots just been hitting even though I'm not hitting for very much. Like there was a game in my 53-55 where I hit a mouse for 98 damage with the big gun, with the 203mm gun. And I'm like, okay, so I aimed at another tank. Did 200 damage. Like, it's not, you're not doing big damage, but it's fine. You're hitting more often. You still gotta let your aim circle aim all the way in if you want to actually hit tanks. But it's more accurate. It feels better. You're not waiting a very long time if you miss. It just feels better to play. And shotgunning is just 10 times better now because you have that hit point advantage. And it leaves some of the funniest things ever. Anyway, that's been it for me. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Also remember to SLAPAFISH because the world is not. And peace out. See ya.